YouTube. Today on Tinker with Tools, we're going to be talking about new offerings from Kreg Tools on their new Ionic power tool line. So let's go ahead and get into that on Tinker with Tools. If you've never heard of Kreg Tools, Kreg Tools is kind of synonymous with pocket hole joinery in the woodworking space. It's something that they're well known for, but then they also make a variety of other jigs. I personally have used their pocket hole jigs, whether it's the R3, the K4, the 720 are all ones that I've had before, and that's really what I've come to know Kreg for. But late last year, they actually made the announcement that they were coming out with this. This is going to be the Ionic Drive, which is the name of their cordless tool platform, the Ionic Drive Rebel, and this is going to be a cordless pocket hole machine. Now, I'm not ready to talk about this today in that I haven't gotten enough time using it on a project yet to really give you my opinion, but this really takes the portability of, say, like a portable biscuit joiner and gives you the ability to apply that to pocket holes. But obviously, if Kreg was going to develop a cordless platform for this, I guess it kind of made sense that they start talking about bringing out cordless tools. And so we do have a couple of them to try out today. Now, I have their compact drill and their impact driver, but they also offer things like a cordless track saw, a router, a regular circular saw, and just various other woodworking tools that are going to be kind of specific to that platform. And I want you to keep that in mind as you're evaluating these. If you're looking at these as a potential professional lineup of tools, that's really not what this is about. These are definitely going to be more focused and specific to the woodworker, and I'd even say more of a hobbyist or kind of DIY woodworker versus somebody in a professional setting. Now, with the drill, it is going to be kind of a compact drill driver. It's coming in just under 6 inches in length for the total head size, but then it does offer 650 inch-pounds, up to 2,000 RPM in speed 2, 500 in speed 1. It has a 20 position clutch. Now, it does just offer a single LED light down on the base of the tool, but overall, it's a well-built, well-made drill. Now, the impact driver, and I don't have it sitting on a second battery here because I just have the one battery, but the impact driver is going to be, once again, a fairly compact at only 4.4 inches of total head length impact driver that's well featured for what it is. This is going to have 3 different speed modes and an assist mode that operates differently in forward and reverse. It's also going to have a quick insert collet, and then once again, just a single LED down here. Now, this is going to feature up to 2,200 inch-pounds of torque. Actually only claiming 2,900 max RPM on this tool, and that's in their speed mode 3. I really would like to see that a little bit higher. It does kind of tell me that maybe performance-wise, I shouldn't expect kind of blistering performance out of this tool. Overall, the fit and finish of the tools is nice. The build quality seems rigid and robust, so I don't really have any questions or concerns there. The one thing I will say is when you pick up the tool for the first time, if you have medium or even large size hands, I think you're going to find that this grip is going to be a little bit on the small side, where I'm starting to feel pressure on the bottom of my finger down here at the base of the tool, but then also I can kind of feel this ridge up here at the top kind of rubbing into it. So definitely not a grip made for larger hands. So what I want to do today is kind of go through some basic performance testing. Not really going to be any comparisons to other tools, but just kind of show you what these tools are capable of. We're going to do some clutch testing on the drill, showcase the various speed modes over here, and then we're going to be showcasing kind of how it does on driving some fasteners that I think are definitely larger than what you're necessarily going to be doing if all you're doing is pocket holes. But I want to go ahead and kind of showcase what these tools are capable of. So let's go ahead and do the performance testing and then kind of come back to it. Okay, so performance testing wise, here's kind of what stands out to me. The drill itself is actually a nice drill to use for the most part. It definitely is the better feeling of these tools. I think it is the one that feels like a pretty solid drill. It's just maybe not necessarily going to overcome a lot of the other compact options that I'd probably prefer more than this. Now, it does tap out pretty early on 1-inch bits, and I don't think necessarily a lot of people are going to be using it for that. And obviously, if you put it down into speed 1, it can. But as a relatively compact drill, it feels like it just really wants to snap out of your hand when it hits that. It just really feels like it wants to twist out of your hand. It's something that I think tool companies have done better about recently, is making sure that that doesn't feel that way. Overall though, the chuck feels nice, grips on well, does a good job, and the performance of the drill is pretty decent. The one area where I felt it was maybe a little lacking is some of the clutch sensitivity, where there wasn't a lot of difference in the sensitivity that I was seeing between clutch setting 1 all the way up to clutch setting 10. You really like to see a little bit more granular control there, especially if what you're doing is kind of fine woodworking or setting screws and stuff. But overall, the drill is a decent tool, and one that, you know, if you need a drill, it's not a terrible drill. The impact driver, on the other hand, I kind of really don't care for all that much. Now, I want to be clear, it did the jobs I asked it. It's not that it's a terrible tool, it's just not the kind of impact driver that I prefer. Overall, it felt really loud compared to some of the other tools that I've been running in the shop that week. It just felt like a loud, kind of rough impact driver. The collet itself, I actually had 2 or 3 different bits get caught in the collet and had to pry 2 of them out with pliers at one point. Don't love to see that on a brand new tool. So overall, not a huge fan of the impact driver. Now I want to talk about the assist modes, because what they're designing those for, I think a lot of people would kind of see that assist mode and think that's going to be for like self-tapping metal fasteners. What they're designing it for is really to be able to be used with pocket hole screws and kind of precision setting of screws. Now, will it work for that? Yes, but I would almost always prefer to be setting my pocket hole screws with something like a drill where I can really dial in the clutch setting. So even though they do offer it, I just don't think it's necessarily the tool that I'm going to for this. Now, an area where I really think we need to talk about these tools is definitely the price, because I had full intentions to buy several of their different tools when they launched, and ultimately kind of backed off or held off for a few months, mostly due to price. If you buy this kit that would come with 2 2-amp-hour batteries, a charger, and the 2 tools, their list price on that kit is $439. It's on sale right now for $339. Now, since you consume tool content, I'm fairly certain you're aware of what prices on different tools are. And if you go start looking at someone's kind of compact, still decently nice equipped impact driver and drill driver kit, we're really talking about $200 to $250 for those tools, and being able to kind of get in at that price point. So $339 even on sale, and heaven forbid $439 for these tools, is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion, and definitely something that is going to hinder their ability to get people to adopt this platform. Now, Bear Tool gets a little bit better. The drill I was able to pick up for $99. So now when you start talking about already having some of the batteries, obviously being able to tack a drill on for $99, that price point I think is fine. The impact driver tool only is $119. But when you go back to the kit prices for these tools, you're talking about a single battery for the drill is up at $179, and for the impact driver is $199. I think when it comes down to it, who these tools are for is going to be someone that wants to do pocket holes, or wants to be able to do something that is specifically Kreg woodworking related, and doesn't want to own another platform, and so they end up getting the drill and the impact driver. But I really don't see these ever catching on, obviously in a professional environment, and it really is going to be targeted more at the hobbyist crowd. So that's where that pricing makes even less sense, because if you start to price out what you can go get from a brand like Ryobi and be able to pick up certain tools like that, you can see that you can still get really decent quality tools with a huge platform behind it, and 20 to 30 years, I think it is, of battery compatibility for much less price. I just don't really see these Kreg tools catching on and becoming something that we're talking about as being a real viable platform. So there you have it, kind of an introduction to the Kreg drill driver and the impact driver. Obviously, this is just coming from my point of view, talking about the tool landscape more in general, and not just how these relate to woodworking, because they will do woodworking. I just think that there's some refinement that they could do that would make them slightly better for woodworking, and maybe need to retune that price point a little bit. Go ahead and let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. If you like this sort of video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure to do that and turn on notifications so you get notified when I put out a new video. As always, I thank you and appreciate all your support. Until next time, I will catch you on Tinker with Tools.